Good morning, Sarah. It's a pleasure being with you again today. I really thought about our last conversation, and one of the things that really stuck with me was the fact that if there are no talents in a community, development is far from that community. It made me really begin to look at myself again, really begin to reevaluate the things that I call my gifts and talents. And for that, I have to first appreciate you, right? And I can't even wait to hear the things you have to say on today's conversation. We won't take much of your time. The first thing I want to ask is, what scares you the most about this vision you're carrying, and what keeps you going regardless? Because when I thought of that particular sentence, I saw that I am just one person in this community, and we are more than 5 million in my own region alone, talk less of other African countries. And so if you're actually going to impact each and every one of these people, bringing out that identity again, it's a scary vision. Even for me, interacting with this vision. What scares you the most about this vision you're carrying, and what keeps you going regardless?
All right. Thank you for having me again, and for your time as well. I wouldn't want to use the word scared, but there are concerns. My concerns is in every sphere of our communities, all African communities, we have been led by leaders who are yet to truly understand themselves, who are still yet to understand their identity. And this is my major concern. We don't know how far we can go with truly for them to look backward and begin to ask themselves, who are we actually? And how do we now begin to look within ourselves as leaders, as key decision makers, as role models to these people? Because 70% of our population as Africans are youths. And these youths are being governed by leaders. And we look up to them. If their identity doesn't resonate with the true African identity, then we're in trouble. We're in trouble. So this is my major concern. And this also keeps me going because my focus is now majorly on the leaders. I need to make them understand the importance of this, of looking back and embracing the African nature, the African heritage, the African identity. Be authentic as leaders, looking within, leading from the place of strength, not from fear, leading from the place of courage to be great role models for African youths. That's my concern. Thank you.
Wow. So one of your, if not the major concern you have, is the leadership. And that is, it feels like there's even more distance between the tangibility of what you're saying now and the realization of it. In your own perspective, would you say that if you could not reach out to the leaders in the way you would want to, would you say that there's another route to take to still achieving this vision?
Your presence here is already communicated to the leaders, and I know definitely my message will get through them. We have been labeled wrongly. We accept names that are not us. How will you say African is poor? African is not poor. You can't say a country with great resources is poor. It is not poor. When I begin to see conferences, yearly conferences by African leaders, African entrepreneurs, they target with different titles, like how do we elevate Africa for poverty? What do you mean? Are you saying Africa, compared to Asian continents with great resources, is poor? Africa is not poor. It's being mismanaged because of the wrong leadership. Leaders with wrong capacity, with wrong identity, lead abuse. That's why we are having this kind of country. You can't say Africa. They should remove that word poverty from Africa. We are not poor. We are not poor. If you compare Africa with first world nations, they don't even have half of the resources we have. What makes a poor nation? Tell me. What makes a poor nation?
I would say first the leadership.
Correct.
First the leadership. And even then the people. I feel like there's a balance between the leadership and the people.
What makes a poor nation is two things. Lack of resources. Lack of resources. You know, when you started the conversation, you talked about what we discussed previously about talents. In a nation that is void of resources, in terms of natural resources and human capital, is poor. So, but when a nation have these two things and they cannot leverage it, then it's not the poverty issue, it is the leadership issue. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Does Africa lack resources?
No.
Natural resources. Do we lack it?
We do not.
Do we lack talents?
No, we do not.
So I would use Africa is poor. Africa is not poor. We are not poor.
Wow, sir. I'll just pull on the name called Africa, right? I'm going to pull on that name now because I want to know, do you believe that Africans truly love being African? Or do you think that we are just waiting for the West to validate us before we begin to love the title called being African?
Do you know why you made me smile?
No, sir.
I can tell you, I've been to the westward. I've seen Africans. A lot of percentage of Africa, they don't want to identify with their roots. They don't want to. Sometimes they barely tell the Western world which country they're from.
Wow.
Yes. Why? They're ashamed of their roots. They're ashamed of their continents. They are ashamed of their culture. They are ashamed of their heritage. Why does that occur? I haven't asked yourself why.
Not once, sir.
They're ashamed of it. Nothing that comes out of Africa is being proud of by an African. Nothing at all. No African want to identify. For example, you at the moment, let's have two products by two companies. One is from the westward and the other is from Africa. Which one would you want to identify yourself with? Would you be proud to say this product or this company is funded by an African? I'm proud of it. Can you be proud of it?
I won't believe that me being proud of anything from Africa because it gained traction in the West.
Beautiful. So that means if it's a Western company, individual, has not affirmed to an African product, we can't be proud of the products. We can't be proud of it. This resonates with all aspects of our industries. For example, if an African musician, an artist, if he has not featured a Western artist, he's not considered a global icon yet. He will not be recognized. He will not be looked upon. You think about it. If we don't associate ourselves with anything Western, we are not recognized. We are not valued. We are not valued. So what would you say? The word Africa at the moment is servitude. That's one word. Servitude. Slaves never, they are not proud of themselves. He said, that's it. No slaves will ever be proud of themselves. So tell me, are we pioneers? Are we leaders? We are not. We are not leaders. But we are bringing them back.
We're bringing them back.
Yes. This is a moment of restoration. That's what we're talking. We are restoring the true Africa it is. Yes.
Wow. And when we even mention things like this slavery and how we're not proud of, where we come from, our roots, it makes me really wonder, what exactly did colonialism, what did it steal from us? What was that thing that it stole from us that we still haven't reclaimed right now? What did colonialism steal from us?
When you ask me some questions, I will always refer back to you. You're an African.
I am.
How do you perceive yourself? Are you proud of, what are your beliefs? Are you proud of who you are? And even if you're proud of who you are, what ideology, what philosophy do you embrace? The philosophy and beliefs you have, are they authentic? They are not authentic. The first thing the colonialism took from us was our authenticity, our originality, our belief system. If your belief system is taken from you, you are gone, you're not, you are a slave. You will always live under the mercy of your master. Their philosophy, their mindset, the way they think, everything. 80% of Africans today, they are afraid. Why are they afraid? Because of the wrong belief system. What they've grown up with, what they've been told by the forefathers, they're afraid. You here right now, you're afraid to act. You are afraid to act. Africans cannot think big anymore. Sometimes when I'm the air flying, I see the view from the airplane, I see African. I feel so sad. When we think too small. We think like slaves. We think like slaves. Imagine you having a maid at home or a security man. I asked my security young man. I said, John, you've been with me for a long time. What have you been using your money for? He said he's building a house in his village. Automatically, I know that house cannot be compared to a real master. I know that already. So that means, ask him, how big is the house? He says it's a small house. I'm managing it using. Slaves always think small. They think they are within a circle. They don't have wings to fly. Why? Because of the belief system that has been imputed in them. Do you understand? Well, this is what colonial has led us. Every African countries, African leaders are thinking small. They feel inferior of themselves. What is the worst thing that could happen to you? It's a belief system. Nothing. And that's what I am about. To re-impute in them, to erase the wrong belief system, impute the right belief system, the originality, the authenticity, the right heritage, the being, who they are. That's it.
Sir, this leads me to a question. When you talked about being caged in a circle and then being unable to fly, one of the things imputing this belief system in our now youths is going to do for them is it's going to give them wings. It's going to make them want to fly. So what happens when they begin to think big, but they are still limited by where they stand, where they are living right now? What do they do? What steps do they take?
This question, you're talking about the step Africans should start taking. What I was thinking something. If you bring a Westerner from any Western country, no matter how rich or poor the country is, to come work in Nigeria or any African countries, they will call them our expatriates. But if you take a Nigerian or an African to the Western country, they call them laborers. Have you thought about it? They are expatriates and we are laborers. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
It's beyond us having the right capacity, the right talent. I told you the last time we discussed that African, we are gifted with different kind of gifts. We are so creative in all aspects. We have the right talent. But if that talent itself is not magnified, it's not valued, no matter how you try, your essence will not be established. What I mean is this. If an African is making waves in African countries, they will never be valued. But if a Westerner groomed that Africa, then that person is valued.
That's true.
Is that not correct?
That is true.
So if you have a friend now, both of you have the same capacity, and that your friend travel abroad, automatically the person is ahead of you. It's because the person has been groomed in the West. Does that mean that you are limited and you cannot achieve great things without your friend? You can. So it's not about your talent, it's about the perception, the perspective, the perception, the image we've been branded with. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the first step is being proud of ourselves. Be proud of yourself, Christ. Be proud of your gift. Be valued of yourself, that you are someone important. That African is a place of importance. That anything comes from you is the best. That's the first thing. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Anything that comes from an African should be well valued and respected. But for that to happen, you yourself have to feel the worth. You must not feel inferior for anything. If you know nothing about the African history, go and learn. Come, I will teach you who you were before. I will reveal yourself to you. How to think on your feet, how to be untainted, how to value whatever that comes from you. Everything is important, no matter how small it is. Value it. Place a high value on you. Do you know the strategy the West they use for us?
No, sir.
When a Western person comes to establishment, maybe they come to where you are, where you're working. Let's say, for example, you are a designer and you have a Western designer. When he comes, the first thing he does is to focus on your weaknesses. He will only focus on the area that are lapses to you. He will never talk about your strength. And he will use your weaknesses to dominate you. And you think he's an expert. He's not. Immediately you understand that no one is good in every aspect. Then you begin to know that these people are leveraging your weakness to make it a strength for them. So what will you do? For Africans, they keep quiet. Oh, he's an expert. He knows more than me. Oh, I never knew. I never saw from his perspective. Do you understand? Instead of you standing up, okay, you know in this area, but look at this area. I'm very good at this. This is who I am. Every human is important in certain areas. Just the same way your fingerprints are different, your talents, there are things you can do that no one else can do. Focus on your strength and be good at it and be proud of it. No one can steal that from you. Do you understand? These are the steps.
And, you know, we Africans have even begun adopting their strategy. So we even go to establishments where we need to partner with people, and we find out that the first thing we are doing is pointing out our own brothers' weaknesses. Our own brothers' weaknesses. This is powerful. This is mind-opening. It's wow. And you mentioned something about being proud of ourselves. You mentioned pride. One of the ways we've seen that Africans exhibit this pride is in things that we should even call trinkets. When people are proud with our African fashion, we take it abroad and we say we are proud to be called Africans. Does this really symbolize freedom to be an African outside African soil, or it's just we're just playing with ourselves? And if it is, what is freedom if we stand on the Westerners' land?
When you say that word freedom, I don't like it. If you mention freedom, that means you accepted you were once a slave.
Wow.
Do you understand? You know, the word terms, they were created by the West. At these terms, you accept them, you don't even know what it is. When you say, it's time for us to have freedom, that means you accepted you were once a slave. Well, there is nothing like freedom. Freedom doesn't exist. Freedom only exists for those who were enslaved. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Even the Africans, they say they are proud of ourselves. They are all nonsense because they themselves, being deep down themselves, they are not proud of themselves. They are not. You talked about us adapting on the Western strategy. I bet you 99% of what we use in our countries are not from us. When I repeat that statement again, what do I mean? The school system, what you read, what you apply daily, they were not originally developed by you. Wow. None. And we have professors in the universities. What are they teaching? These ideologies. They are all from the West. And even if they have the intention of creating something, they themselves will not value that thing. Because someone will come from anywhere, from the West anywhere, we counter what they created, then they feel inferior about it, and they let it go. Check from the government, the leaders, the lawmakers, down. The decision making they are making, where did they get the philosophies from? Where did they get it from? Even talking about the structure. Federation to start with. Is it for them? The word federation is from the Greek. Every philosophy we are embracing are not from us. Nothing is original. Nothing is authentic. Nothing at all. You think about what is authentic. The only thing that they think we are authentic is spear and arrow. You know that's what they use it to resonate with Africa. Spear and arrow. And natives. We don't wear native, we are not an African. Who told you?
God.
Native was created by a creative. It's not an African identity. That's why we are limited. So if we don't wear native or cap, we are not we are Western, we are still in the West. Who told you? Everything produced was a creativity by someone. You may resonate it with the country, but it's a creativity by an individual. So do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
That's it.
I have to sit again. I have to sit again to absorb all of this. You know, one of the things I want to know, how did you train yourself this way? You know how sometimes I ask questions and I find out that before you even begin to answer, you spotted out the words that are first already puts me under. How did you walk yourself here to become a default setting? How did you do this?
Because I knew myself from the beginning. I've questioned everything. The first step is to question everything. Everything you know, everything you grew up to accept, you question it. Do you understand?
That's right.
You know, nowadays, when you go to Harvard to get education, they say if you are not an Harvard educationist, then you are not intellectually sound. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Until we stop getting education from the West, everything that we know and apply and create will always be at the mercy of the West.
That's true.
You don't know more than your master. You can never know more than your master. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If everything you know, I'm the one who taught you, then where is your creativity?
It's you.
How would you know more than me? Remember, master will never teach you everything that they know because they will always have leverage over you. That's for sure. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I have always remained on a default mode. I question everything. Even while I was in the Western world, I questioned everything. In Nigeria, I questioned everything. Why is this so? So I began to understand that we are not living in a default net. Everything that has been corrupted in the Asian of African is from the West. Everything. So that's why they place the West in a high priority. And they feel inferior. Why? Because everything they know, everything they have is at the mercy of the West. So they must feel inferior. Do you understand? The other day I talked about our president, a president that leads entire nation of more than 300 million people. If you go to his office, 90% of what he owns is from the West. You know, I was watching a video. I saw the vice president using Apple laptop in his desk, just like me. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you saying there is no creatives in Africa that can create this system? Are you telling me that's what I thought about? A vice president from the state house using products that are not originally from Africans. Do you understand me? And if you check the furnitures and everything they have in their office, they will tell you this one was made in Italian. This one was from a German. Do you understand me?
Yes, sir.
They don't even think of looking within. That's it. That's it. We just have to continually look within.